It was not easy to go through a family tragedy, especially one that was related to domestic violence. I was looking forward to a relationship with this beautiful young woman who married my stepson. And yet his brother, my other stepson, murdered her, pregnant with their second child. I know that many of you have gone through grief, and this one was dark and heavy. Awesome women of North Carolina now. I didn't know what to do. It was difficult to heal that kind of dark grief. And after 6 months, I decided I still needed healing, so I contacted Family Services, thinking that maybe I could reach out and help other young women dealing with domestic violence. 6 weeks of training, 3 hours each week. I graduated, they gave me a flip phone. They said, okay, here's your shift. You will be the hotline now for domestic violence. But my phone rang off the hook. Off the hook. I couldn't take care of my kids. I couldn't fix meals. I couldn't do anything for my family. The phone was ringing off the hook. I went to Family Services. I said, this isn't going to work. I need another job. They said, okay, we'll give you another job. They gave me a different flip phone. Now they said, you're going to be a sexual assault hotline volunteer. Just take the phone to bed with you. Sure enough, I took the phone to bed with me, and at 1:30 the phone rings. Every shift I took the phone to bed with me at 1:30 a.m. it rang. It was as if someone had told Winston-Salem that midnight is a good time to rape women. When my phone rang, after I answered the phone, my car keys and clothes were ready. I would make my way to the emergency room at Forsyth Hospital. And there inside the emergency room would be some patient waiting for me. The sexual assault nurse lived in Thomasville, and it took a while for her to get to the hospital. So I was the comforter for the victim. Time after time, the women were different ages, different backgrounds, different races, but it was always the same thing. And always 1:30 a.m. But the time I will never, ever forget was on Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, 1:30 a.m., the phone rang. Got dressed, got in my car, went to the emergency room, and they took me to a little room inside, and there was a woman hunched over, shivering. I knew she was my patient. I went and got a heated blanket, and I wrapped it around her, put my arms around her, and I said, my name is Anna. I'm going to be with you until you're ready to go home. What is your name? Sandra, she mumbled, shaking. I just sat there and rocked her in the blanket until the sexual assault nurse arrived. I loved that nurse. She was so competent. She came in like she was going to war. She was so determined to find evidence to use in a rape kit. So she came full of competence, and I followed her and the patient to the sexual assault examining room upstairs. My job was to keep the patient talking about things that she cared about, things that she loved in her life, so that she would relax and the exam would be easier. I asked her about her children. She was about 60. She had grown children, so of course she had grandchildren. Tell me their names and their ages and what they'd like to do. I was an eager listener. She did. Then she ran out. She had told me about everybody. The nurse looked at me with this pleading look in her eyes that said, Anna, we're not done. Talk some more. Somehow I just knew she was a church-going woman. And I said, Sandra, what's your favorite hymn? Amazing Grace, she said. Let's sing it. Now listen, I'm a really terrible singer. I don't sing in front of people, but I had to sing it then. I just took a deep breath. Amazing Grace. Well, she joined me, and she was worse than me. We were stumbling through the song. We were even making up the verses, and before I knew it, the sexual assault nurse had chimed in, and she was off either key that we were singing in. Sandra was singing in 3 keys. I mean, we were terrible. But there was one window in this room where the blinds had been opened, and it was looking out into Christmas Eve night, totally black, except for the little diamond stars up in that sky. The 3 of us sang into the heavens. And then this very magical moment of bonding happened. And I knew that the 3 of us would never be together again. But every single New Year's Eve, each of us, I'm sure, remembers that night and that special moment when we, as 3 strong women, knew that it would get better. And that's what we are today. We are strong women who know that when we join together, it will get better. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is what we're